Hi everybody. I just wanted to catch up with everyone. I had a lovely break in Cornwall and with my family, and very relaxed and switched off from everything, which was great. And then been busy since I've been back with writing memoirs and doing readings for people, and all quite busy. But I wanted to tell you about a little revelation I've had. I was looking through some research which was done in the Netherlands, and it was about relatives of long-term missing people, and it's made a lot of light bulbs go off in my head. And one in particular is prolonged grief disorder, which they shortened to PGD, and oh my god, I read it and thought, that's me, or it was me, and had been me for quite a long time. And thankfully it's I've been able to manage to lift myself out of it. I just want to tell you a bit about prolonged grief disorder. This research was done, as I said, in the Netherlands, and the average age of the people being involved in the research was 60, mainly women, and people who'd had missing people for 15 years, which is, apart from not being 60, I'm the average. Most of the research people interviewed were disappearance of a child. Most people believe that child to be dead, and their death was also at the hands of another, so kidnapping or murder, something like that, which is, yeah, fairly disappearance of a child, but obviously disappearance of a brother for me. Prolonged grief disorder. The main, from what the research says, the main signs of this are negative cognitions, which are obviously negative thoughts, and also avoidance behaviours. So avoidance behaviours would be not wanting to be around grief, other people grieving, another sort of stimuli that's going to upset you, withdrawing from activities that you think are pointless or you don't find fulfilling. Yeah, did plenty of that. But actually, funnily enough, that was in the early years. Lots of my friends didn't know anything about me having a missing brother. For years and years, I never told anybody. I just got on with life. Withdrawing from activities. Yeah, did plenty of that. Avoidance of situations. But yeah, funnily enough, when all this started up again in 2005, I was actually I was a writer in residence for a funeral company, and I was working for the company doing another project, and the writer in residence that they had lined up for the year, something happened to him, and they asked me to do it instead. So by default I got the job, or I accepted the job, got asked and accepted. And it was through doing that and being surrounded by grieving families. I interviewed a grieving widow, and I also met with lots of funeral directors, stonemasons, people who, funeral arrangers, coffin makers, and I was forced to confront my grief that I'd hidden. And it was only when I confronted my grief, and I remember I had to write a piece for a writing competition, Grieving Matters. Oh no, Death. Oh, I'll have to look that up. Basically a charity who talk about death and make death not a taboo subject. So I was asked to write a piece for them as writer in residence for this company, funeral company, and it was the first time that I ever looked on Christian's computer. Obviously I looked on his computer when he first went missing to see if he'd had emails or anything like that, but it was the first time I'd ever looked to see or just really thought about him properly, like confronting grief. So I can see so that was 2012, I think. No, it wasn't, it was later than that. Oh god, what a mess. I hate crying on films. I do plenty of it behind the scenes, but not on film. Anyway, so yeah, this avoidance behaviour, and I was obviously forced to confront my grief, and that's how my healing happened. So the other side of prolonged grief disorder is negative cognition, so thoughts, negative thoughts. Part of that is they call it catastrophic misinterpretations of one's own grief reaction. So that's, their example is, if I let go of my emotions, I will go crazy. Yeah, that definitely played a part. How do you confront? I think I'm putting myself back in the position I was in. That's where the tears are from. Because, oh, it wasn't a good place to be. Yeah, so it's like, if I think about this too much, I'm just gonna go crazy with thinking what happened. And actually, when I did the research, the search for Christian on Facebook in 2015, I think it was, or 16, I was in this state again. It all came back up. You know, I'm going to find him. I'm going to keep my target on finding Christian. I'm not going to think about the consequences of him not being alive. We've never had bad news. We've never had any news, so I can just carry on disregarding any intuition thought that I had that he was probably dead. Yeah, didn't want to confront that option. It was too bad an option to think of. So you rely on hope. You hope he's going to be alive. There's reasons why he's not coming forward. You think of every reason why he's not coming forward, which I played out, is all in public on this Facebook community, the stages I went through. I'm going to keep all of that up there as well, actually. It's like a record. I hope it helps some people. If I leave it up there, and it's sort of, yeah, it's good. It should be recorded how I was feeling, and this even, you know, God, even when Christian was there and in my dreams, what I thought were dreams first of all, I'm talking to him and reacting with him, it never once crossed my mind that he was actually dead. It's hope. Hope kind of keeps you, hope's a good thing, or is it not? I don't know. Hope keeps you going, but actually it stops you from, I think that's a lot of the reason why this prolonged grief disorder, why I was affected by it. It's weird having a label attached to it, but I think that's what it was. Reading this, it's like, oh God, yeah, of course. You know, you hope somebody's still alive. And actually they do say in the report, because I looked at it and I thought, oh my God, yes, that's me. Holding on to hope may block acceptance of the irreversibility of the separation, and it shows that yeah, increased prolonged grief disorder is associated with hope that the missing loved one is still alive. So yeah, you keep hoping, and actually in my case it turned into a disorder. And I can see that now. I was very ill with it, especially when I ran out of options on that search. And hope was dashed. The final, I think I probably realised there's a lot of people around me at the moment. Yeah. And that's when lots of, well, particularly that was when I was really helped by just stopping the world, living in the now, and recognizing that I've been living in fear. The fear thoughts, this avoidance of grief, withdrawing from activities. And I know a lot of people around me realised that and recognised. I've had lots of emails from people who have family, you know, family and family friends who would have realised that there was something wrong, and it wasn't just a grief. But the thing is, when you have a missing person, it's not closure. You don't have the closure of a death. You don't have the luxury of a death, I guess. That sounds awful. Yeah, that does sound awful. I apologise for that. But you're in limbo, and you can't grieve. You kind of go into a preemptive grief, I guess. So it's not full blown proper grief, which you can kind of work through. It's and if they're dead. So yeah, you go through your stages of grief, but you still don't have any answers. You still don't know. They could be alive. Yeah, having a missing person is cruel. But I guess it gives you or me a lot of empathy for other people going through the same thing. And in fact, for anybody who's grieving, oh, what a mess, I know. Yeah, for anybody else who's grieving. Or it doesn't actually have to be anybody who's grieving, it can just be somebody losing something, losing a dream, being made redundant, losing a relationship, divorce, seeing a parent with Alzheimer's, terminal illness. Yeah. It gives me a good understanding of what people might be going through. Because everybody deals with loss, whatever kind of loss it is, in a different way. And everybody has ways of coping with their loss. I didn't cope very well at first. No way. But then having a missing person, nobody tells you how to cope. In fact, everybody asks, how do you cope? You don't, you muddle through. And I know from my family, from my parents, we're all very different in how we've coped. And that's part of my sadness at the moment, which I don't really want to put onto film, but I found my closure, oh God, which I'm very pleased about. But not having closure is really tough, and I can't help other people have closure. But actually there was another thing I was going to talk about. I've already rambled on so long, so if anyone's still with me, I had, talking about closure, I have my closure to a degree now, but I don't think you'll ever get closure. And in fact, I'm not sure you ever get closure from a loss, totally. I don't think it's possible. And I say that from experience because obviously when I thought I'd got my closure, finding Christian and bringing him back home, the release was incredible. It was amazing. It was so good. But since then, lots of other stuff has come up to do with that. And I've had to, it's like going around in this figure of 8. You go up and you think, got it. And then something happens and you learn another level of karma, I guess. Your lessons that we all are on our separate journeys. Not separate journeys because we're all together, but we're all linked, we're all together. But yeah, so I thought I was pretty closured up, and lots of things have happened to make it incredibly difficult to sustain my belief and my faith. It's been, I feel like I've been tested, but I'm good. I am good. Very good, actually. And I have more belief and I have more trust in Christian and I being in contact. And yeah, this incident the other day, I was asked whether I wanted to shut down publicity for Christian's search. So missing people, with missing people charity, all the charities, and with the police. And I had mixed feelings. I have closure, and it's almost like, would I be shutting cases down and things like that for my own, just to prove that I've got closure? But I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think it's more that I need to accept how it is now, acceptance, and let things, and trust that things are going to sort themselves out in that area. I guess this is all related to this search for Christians missing things, because I don't think there is closure totally at the moment. And there might be for me, but there's not in around the general situation. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to leave everything, trust that everything will sort itself out, as it has done. It's taken a long time, but I can see now from a different perspective, certainly to middle of 2017 to now has been a big learning curve and a healing process. And I can see now I was definitely on this prolonged grief disorder. But yeah, I've been given help not from professionals or anyone in the medical side. I guess I've found my own way with a lot of help and direction from that's a difficult one to answer. I know where they've come from, but I think everybody's different, and I think there's lots of stages to healing, and I think the first stage is healing of yourself, and it can be done. You can do this yourself, because I did. And if I was suffering from that prolonged grief disorder and have come out the other side, then I guess all I can do is tell my story, and if it resonates with people, then it might help them. But I can't tell people what to do, because everybody's at different stages, and they're all at the right stage at this time. I really believe in that one. And it takes time. When it's the right time, whatever I say, the story that I will tell, when it's the right time for you, if you're suffering from any loss, yeah, if it's the right time, you'll pick something up from it. Yeah. So, gosh, this has gone on forever. I'm really sorry. I'm going to do something with everything I've learnt in the last, where are we, 18 months. And I'm going to try and provide it in a way which is accessible to everybody, and very honest, and like easy steps, I guess, and give you some tools, maybe things that help me, things I was shown, things I was given, teachers who came into my field of vision, and yeah, I hope it will help others. Kind of seems to be the purpose of all of this. And it would be good to know this has all been experienced for a reason. And if that's to help others, I'm happy to have gone through it. Yeah, so I shall have to start writing I don't know what to do, whether to do an e-course or something like that, something to make it really accessible to people. And I'll try and start writing that. I guess the journey just keeps going round and round this figure of 8. I can see it in my head. But at the right time, whatever situation you're in, if you're suffering from any loss, then at some point it might speak to you. So that would be really good. Anyway, sorry if you're still here. Thank you for listening, and we'll speak soon. Okay, bye.